Hi, everybody. I'm Senator Jean Shaheen. I represent New Hampshire and Washington, and I am very pleased to be able to read a story today at the suggestion of Dr. Amy Frechette, who is with Pine Tree School. And I know that she's been doing this for a while, and it's really fun. And I'm very pleased to be able to join you. The book that I want to read today is one of my favorites and was a favorite story of two of my daughters. It's called Miss Rumphius, and it's written by Barbara Cooney, and she also did the illustrations, which are very pretty. I think I like it because it reminds me of New Hampshire. But I probably should put my glasses on so I can get all the words right. The Lupin lady lives in a small house overlooking the sea. In between the rocks around her house grow blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. The Lupin lady is little and old, but she's not always been that way. I know, she's my great aunt, and she told me so. Once upon a time, she was a little girl named Alice, who lived in a city by the sea. From the front stoops, she could see the wharves and the bristling masts of tall ships. Many years ago, her grandfather had come to America on a large sailing ship. I'm not sure how well you can see these pictures, but this looks like Portsmouth, very much like Portsmouth, where she grew up. Now he worked in the shop at the bottom of the house, making figureheads for the prows of ships and carving Indians out of wood to put in front of cigar stores. For Alice's grandfather was an artist. He painted pictures, too, of sailing ships and places across the sea. When he was very busy, Alice helped him put in the skies. So Alice would paint the blue skies for her grandfather's pictures. In the evening, Alice sat on her grandfather's knee and listened to his stories of faraway places. When he'd finished, Alice would say, "When I grow up, I too will go to faraway places. And when I grow old, I too will live by the sea." "That is all very well, little Alice," said her grandfather, "but there is a third thing you must do." "What is that?" asked Alice. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful," said her grandfather. "All right," said Alice, but she didn't know what that could be. In the meantime, Alice got up and washed her face and ate porridge for breakfast. Porridge is kind of like oatmeal. She went to school and came home and did her homework. And pretty soon, she was grown up. Here's Alice on her grandfather's knee. Then my great aunt Alice set out to do the three things she had told her grandfather she was going to do. She left home and went to live in another city far from the sea and the salt air. There she worked in a library, dusting books and keeping them from getting mixed up, and helping people find the ones they wanted. Some of the books told her about faraway places. People call her Miss Rumphius now. There she is, Alice, Miss Rumphius, working in the library. Sometimes she went to the conservatory in the middle of the park. When she stepped inside on a wintry day, the warm, moist air wrapped itself around her, and the sweet smell of jasmine filled her nose. "This is almost like a tropical isle," said Miss Rumphius, "but not quite." In Washington, there is a beautiful conservatory that is very much like that. That's a wonderful place to visit if you get a chance to go there. So Miss Rumphius went to a real tropical island where people kept cockatoos and monkeys as pets. She walked on long beaches, picking up beautiful shells. And one day she met the Bapa Raja, king of a fishing village. "You must be tired," he said. "Come into my house and rest." So Miss Rumphius went in and met the Bapa Raja's wife. The Bapa Raja himself fetched a green coconut and cut a slice off of the top so that Miss Rumphius could drink the coconut water inside. Before she left, the Bapa Raja gave her a beautiful mother-of-pearl shell on which he had painted a bird of paradise and the words, "You will always remain in my heart." can see the Baparaja there, and I don't know if you can see the cockatoo in the background and the monkey. You will always remain in mine too, said Miss Rumphius. My great aunt, Miss Alice Rumphius, climbed tall mountains where the snow never melted. She went through jungles and across deserts. She saw lions playing and kangaroos jumping. And everywhere she made friends she would never forget. Finally, she came to the land of the lotus eaters, and there, getting off a camel, she hurt her back. What a foolish thing to do, said Miss Rumphius. Well, I have certainly seen faraway places. Maybe it's time to find my place by the sea. It was, and she did. Here you can see her on the camel, and getting off of that camel, she hurt her back. From the porch of her new house, Miss Rumphius watched the sun come up. She watched it cross the heavens and sparkle on the water, and she saw it set in glory in the evening. She started a little garden among the rocks that surrounded her house, and she planted a few flower seeds in the stony ground. Miss Rumphius was almost perfectly happy. But there is still one more thing I have to do, she said. I have to do something to make the world more beautiful. But what? The world is already pretty nice, she thought, looking out over the ocean. You can see Miss Rumphius' house with the ocean in the background. I think it looks a little bit like the coast of New Hampshire. The next spring, Miss Rumphius was not very well. Her back was bothering her again, and she had to stay in bed most of the time. The flowers she'd planted the summer before had come up and bloomed in spite of the stony ground. She could see them from her bedroom window, blue and purple and rose-colored. Lupins, said Miss Rumphius with satisfaction. I have always loved lupins the best. I wish I could plant more seeds this summer so that I could have still more flowers next year. She was not able to do so. See, there's Miss Rumphius. She's not feeling well. She's in bed. After a hard winter, spring came. Miss Rumphius was feeling much better. Now she could take walks again. One afternoon, she started to go up and over the hill where she had not been in a very long time. I don't believe my eyes, she cried when she got to the top. For there, on the other side of the hill, was a large patch of blue and purple and rose-colored lupins. It was the wind, she said as she knelt in delight. It was the wind that brought the seeds from my garden here, and the birds must have helped. Then Miss Rumphius had a wonderful idea. I wonder if you can guess what her idea was. But there's Miss Rumphius with the lupins. I bet if you have traveled around where you live, you will have seen lupins in the summertime. She hurried home and got out her seed catalogs. She sent off to the very best seed house for 5 bushels of lupin seed. All that summer, Miss Rumphius, her pockets full of seeds, wandered over fields and headlands, sowing lupins. She scattered seeds along the highways and down the country lanes. She flung handfuls of them around the schoolhouse and back of the church. She tossed them into hollows and along stone walls. Her back didn't hurt her anymore at all. Now, some people called her that crazy old lady. You can see she looks like she's having fun, I think. The next spring, there were lupins everywhere. Fields and hillsides were covered with blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. They bloomed along the highways and down the lanes. Bright patches lay around the schoolhouse and back of the church. Down in the hollows and along the stone walls grew the beautiful flowers. Miss Rumphius had done the most difficult thing of all. Do you remember what that was, that most difficult thing? She had made the world a more beautiful place. My great Aunt Alice, Miss Rumphius, is very old now. Her hair is very white. Every year there are more and more lupins. Now they call her the Lupin Lady. Sometimes my friends stand with me outside her gate, curious to see the old lady who planted the fields of lupins. When she invites us in, they come slowly. They think she is the oldest woman in the world. Often she tells us stories of faraway places. When I grow up, I tell her, I too will go to faraway places and come home to live by the sea. That is all very well, little Alice, says my aunt, but there is a third thing you must do. What is that, I ask? You must do something to make the world more beautiful. All right, I say. See, there's Miss Rumphius with all of the kids listening to her stories. All right, I say, but I do not know yet what that can be. But you can see how much more beautiful Miss Rumphius made the world. And that's the end of the story. So remember what Miss Rumphius said. We've all got to do something to make the world a more beautiful place. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.